Hello, it's John Heaton, and I'm going to answer your questions which you sent me to celebrate my 10,000 subs. Notice the return of the beer can at the back. I'm not quite sure how some shoe polish got into the last video. Anyway, so thanks for your questions. I'm going to go through them. Ian Rouse has, how do you manage to store all your records and stuff? Well, I have a small music room at the back which is dedicated to storing all my vinyl and CDs, and also my backlog of Q magazines, which I really need to get rid of because I don't have much use for those. They're in another little room at the back. So yeah, it's a bit cluttered, and some records are in the living room because I didn't put them back. So I'm fairly organised. I know roughly where to find things, but probably could be more organised. Do I have a job? Yeah, this is just my hobby, the YouTube stuff, and don't have to spend much time in preparation, luckily, because I have most of the knowledge to hand of what I'm discussing anyway, which tends to be stuff that I'm familiar with. So, and as you can see, I don't spend a lot of time editing or technically making the videos nicer, so it doesn't not actually that time consuming. How do I stop the planes? Well, it's just pot luck. They're staying away for this video as well, touch wood. Who was talking in the background in the last video? I think that was my neighbours, sorry about that. Hopefully with the microphone you can hear my voice louder than those. But I thought it was nice to do it outside, even if you do have a big bit of background noise. Sometimes the people playing ping pong and stuff. Do I speak Hungarian? Again, kicsit magyarul beszélek. It is a difficult language, but I've lived here a long time, so it would be scandalous if I didn't speak a little of the language. Kelly Smith says, what about the Beatles' most challenging day? Well, that's probably worth a video in itself, but off the top of my head I'd say Brian Epstein dying in August '67 was what set the ball rolling, in terms of made them a bit disoriented and lacking a kind of moral compass, or not moral compass, but the glue which held them together. Brian Epstein suddenly disappeared and they were kind of a bit like a headless chicken, and we know what happened after that. Not that the music suffered. MJ asks for memorable quotes from the Beatles. I think, again, that's another video in itself, so I'll probably be doing that. David Robinson asks me which music I'm into post 1990. Sorry, kicked the thing. Not too much is the answer to that. Got a couple of World Party records, if that counts as 90s, early 90s. A couple of Oasis records, some Blur records, and some REM records. So apart from that, not too much post-90s or post-80s stuff. 55 Vida asked me about US releases, and again, I think that is a topic worthy of a separate video, but just quickly, what they did well was, in my opinion, Magical Mystery Tour and Hey Jude, and the most scandalous of the US releases is Revolver, but I'm going to do a separate video because I think it does warrant it. Revolver's scandalous because it missed out 3 of the Lennon tracks. Sean Berg asked me if I could choose Beatles or Wings, and the other one never existed. Well, I'd have to choose Beatles, but it's not an easy decision in some respects, because I grew up with Wings when I was 14, 15, and I was buying London Town, Back to the Egg when they came out, so those are the first records I actually remember getting as a kid, so that has a special place in my heart. But when it comes down to it, the band, the Beatles, I'd go for them. Favourite guitar solo James Parkinson asks me for. I hope I pronounced your name right. From the Beatles it would be Let It Be, Something, probably those two, and then solo Beatles, Give Me Some Truth and How Do You Sleep, George Harrison, all 4 of those guitar solos, and Taxman from Paul McCartney, another favourite. Outside of the Beatles, Hotel California I think is just sublime solo. I think it's Joe Walsh playing a lot of it, but joint. And then Mike Oldfield's guitar solo in Moonlight Shadow is just sensational. It's again 2 guitar solos, one after the other. David Burgess asks me Ringo's finest drum track. It's a tricky one, but off the top of my head I'd go for Rain, Day in the Life and Here Comes the Sun. Those 3 I think are 3 standouts for me. guitar solos, I forgot to mention the Pink Floyd solos on Mother and Time, Comfortably Numb, brilliant. Kevin Lyle Martin asked me, should the Beatles have done Free as a Bird and Real Love, or not spoilt the myth or whatever. I don't think they spoilt anything doing those two tracks. I think possibly they should have been just standalone singles. I think it was a bit naff to put them as the lead-off tracks on Anthology 1 and Anthology 2, because they really had nothing to do with the anthology material. They're kind of a separate entity in itself. I don't mind seeing the video of Free as a Bird at the end of Anthology, but I didn't really like it as a method to sell the anthology CDs. But as songs go, I like both of them. I don't think they're quite vintage Beatles, but they're not far short of them. They're certainly damn good solo period Beatles sounding records, should we say. Alan Core is asking me Beatles ballads, which are your favourites. So, and also, he's asking me which solo Beatles ballads would I put on an equivalent solo of the Beatles ballads album, and then DT195 asked me my favourite Beatles ballads. Well, the first question, I'll just give you a few. Norwegian Wood, Girl in My Life, Michelle, all from Rubber Soul, For No One, Here, There and Everywhere from Revolver, and I Will and Blackbird from the White Album. So there's a few. And then Alan, in answer to your question, I just came up with a quick 20 tracks from John: Woman, Love, You Are Here, Oh My Love, Imagine, Jealous Kai. From Paul, Every Night, Backseat of My Car, Some People Never Know, My Love. Bluebird, Warm and Beautiful, I'm Carrying, Wanderlust. From George, Dark Sweet Lady, Your Love Is Forever, Learning How to Love You, and Beware of Darkness. And from Ringo, Step Lightly and I'll Still Love You. Although I also put down Grow Old With Me because I like that version as well, of the John song. Mirta Botsari asked me where I was in Greece when I filmed The Emotional Rescue and the Hotter Than July reviews. Well, my sister organised that holiday. She and her family, plus me and my kids, went. All I can tell you is we hired a car outside Athens and drove about 2.5-3 hours south, and we were on the coast somewhere. I couldn't tell you where exactly, but it was a beautiful spot. Very hot weather, nice beaches, great holiday. Sorry I can't be more specific. Benjamin Richard asked me if I could meet Bob Dylan. What question would you ask him? That's a good one. I'd probably look to discuss one of his more obscure albums which I like, such as Street Legal or Self-Portrait. There's a great video on YouTube of someone meeting Bob in Las Vegas and getting him to sign Self-Portrait. Check it out, it's hilarious. So I'd probably go for something obscure like Changing of the Guards or We Better Talk This Over, one of those obscure tracks from Street Legal, and just discuss those, you know. The Walrus is Danny saying, your Cliff Richard collection, I don't have anything from Cliff. Ken Adams, what motivates you to do YouTube? Well, it was really watching guys like me, Mr. Mayo and Rockboy 680 do their stuff and thinking this is entertaining, and why can I not give it a crack? Because I have a lot of useless trivia in here, and why not share it with people of a like mind? And it's been quite a rewarding experience, you know. For the most part, you know, if people don't like what I'm saying, they don't watch, and haven't had too many negative comments, and a lot of like-minded people, good discussion with the people in the comments section over the years, and I've really enjoyed it. Gene Stanley says, if you could spend one day with one of the Beatles, which one would it be? Well, from a personality point of view, I think it would be John Lennon. I would probably choose him. I wouldn't say no to spending a day with any of them, obviously, but I think John would be the most interesting personality, so I've gone for him. I'm not sure which year I would like to meet him. In 1980 would not be a bad one. Andrew Dixon asks, unreleased solo stuff, what would you make me most excited to see? Well, I think the George 74 tour, if it's available in good quality, why not put that out? That would be brilliant. And also the afternoon show for Bangladesh. I don't know if it was filmed or if they've got any excerpts of that, but they should put out all the footage of which wasn't used. For example, Hear Me Lord was performed in the afternoon show and never seen the light of day. Maybe the video doesn't exist, I don't know. Obviously also we're waiting for the archive material of London Town. back to the egg. You know that, Andrew. David Much says, I'll follow the sun. Can you detect John singing it as well as Paul? Well, yeah, you did ask me this before, and sorry I didn't reply. To me, this is a Paul song and double-tracked at times, and I think double-track Paul can sound a bit like John and vice versa during that period, so I can see what you're saying in that it sounds Lennon-esque a little bit, but I would say that was a McCartney solo vocal, double-tracked in places. And German Suarez says, do you like Leonard Cohen? The answer is I have a great respect for him. I don't really own any of his records. We play Hallelujah occasionally at family parties because it's a favourite of my mother-in-law's, but maybe I should discover some of his stuff. So that was your questions. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.